Before we dive in, a quick note. If you want weekly tools to grow and lead your business, sign up for my free newsletter at stevepreda.com/newsletter. Good day, Steve Preda here with the Management Blueprint podcast, and my guest today is Matt Andersen, the CEO of Westlake Securities LLC, the #1 lower middle market investment bank in Central Texas, which is focused on advising companies seeking to intentionally grow or obtain liquidity. And he is also the author of Intentional Growth, as you can see behind him on the screen. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve, thanks so much for having me. I was super excited to be joining you on today's show.
Yeah, I love the title of the book and the cover, and this is exactly what you want to do with companies, right? You intentionally want to grow it, and then you want to grow the value and create great exits, which I'm sure you have a lot to tell us about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, our business model, so taking a quick step back, so I'm CEO of Westlake Securities, as you mentioned, a lower middle market investment bank. And I would say a lot of our companies that we work with, we're really helping them grow. And then the other, like that's about half our business. The other half of our business is folks who, once they've grown and achieved a certain position or value the organization and have gotten to a certain point in their career, they might want to start thinking about liquidity or maybe an ultimate exit plan for liquidity, not just for their financial tie up in a business, but also their time. And so that's kind of the other half of what we do is help people think through that next step.
Yeah, because you need both, right? If you have a lot of money but no time to enjoy it, that's not really good. If you have a lot of time but no money, that's not good either. So you need both.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, the business fits really, really well. So, for a lot of our folks, we're with them on very long-term journeys. In some instances, it's been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years for them to kind of grow the organization to a value that's truly exciting for them, and then to help them think about how best to monetize that once the organization's kind of hit a goal based on size and time.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. So let me take a step back and ask you, what is your personal why and how are you manifesting it in this business?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And I think about it this way. So I think a lot of companies have mission and vision statements. We actually do something a little different. We have a purpose statement, and that purpose statement is that we create value that changes lives. And I think at this point in my career, I'm probably, if you define careers as you would maybe a sporting event, I'm probably in the third quarter of my career. And so one of the things that gets me excited every day is like a transaction. For instance, we had about 2 weeks ago, there was about 8 people who had a truly life-changing experience in a positive way. And that's really neat. And in addition to those 8 people, there was a group of 4 people that actually became shareholders for the first time in this organization. It was really neat. Those sorts of conversations are really fun to have. And so, kind of creating value that changes lives is really important. And we tend to think about that holistically too. I think for our team, we've been fairly blessed with growth. And then also, if you think about the full cycle back to community, we typically pick kind of one charitable organization a year, and we try to have an impactful donation to that one charitable organization. And so I think from client to team to community, that's really that holistic vision is what gets me kind of skipping into work every day still.
Yeah, I mean, if you can change your clients' lives and you change your team members' lives for the better, then that's very powerful. That's very empowering.
Yeah, and then
So,
to see that roll through the community is that's kind of, yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see.
so that's the third leg of the stool is the clients, the team, and your community.
That's right.
You're really embedded in there. And my question is, how do you do that? And do you have a framework for changing these lives? I mean, you obviously you wrote a book, so it may be the book spine of the book that you might share with us, or maybe another framework. So this podcast is all about framework. So what is a 3 to 5 step process, or maybe 3 or 4 ways to look at something that informs you or the client or your clients, or it can be anything that helps you streamline things in your business and make things simpler, which our listeners might benefit and interpret in their own way.
Yeah, so I'm a big framework fan, which is part of the reason I was excited to join the podcast, because I think of things in that way, especially if you figure out, what works over time, the goal is to replicate that. And so just like manufacturing facility figures out how to make a microchip all the way to a pair of shoes, and they keep doing the same thing repetitively. I think frameworks in business, if they're given enough flexibility, can be hugely powerful. And so I've written 2 books. Completing the Deal is my first book. Intentional Growth is my second book. Intentional growth is really about organizational growth, and the book is full of great frameworks. But I think if I were to share one that I believe is the most impactful, and it's also kind of simple, but the most impactful is simply reverse engineering your desired outcome up front. So often I think businesses we come into contact with, they know they want to grow, they know they want to achieve certain things, but oftentimes they haven't done a great job of defining 2 things: the time frame they want to do it in and the level of achievement that they want to get to. And so one of the things that we tend to see in business is that people will make a budget, for instance, but they're going to pull in a sales backlog and a CRM report, and customer did X last year, so we'll just add 4%, and they'll do, Y this year. We'll hire a couple of people. And so that can be a way to budget, but I think the better way to approach budgeting is once you've set a reverse engineered course to say, over the next 5 years, we're going to get from here to here. And then to really think about that in a stair step, almost like the path behind me, of if we need to go from here to here year over year, how do we actually grab that growth out of the marketplace? And how do we make sure that we're on the right path? And so one of the things we spent a lot of time on with companies that we're helping to grow is this reverse engineering. And it's a great framework. There's a lot about it in the book. I would say kind of a couple things that are really important takeaways. Probably the most important takeaways I can share is time frame. What we found is 3 to 7 years is the best time frame. Anything less than 3 years starts to feel like there's not enough time to actually see the seeds that have been planted bear fruit. And anything longer than 7 years, well, I mean, Steve, 7 years is just a long time. It's hard to predict cycles and things of that nature. And by default, we tend to think about things absent another driving force, maybe in a 5-year, kind of split the difference, 5 years. The other framework that we really tend to focus on is picking a financial destination that's impactful. And so I think a lot of times when people think about the stress of business growth, the part of the reason it's stress and not excitement is because they're kind of worried about, growing 8 to 10%, if you will, or 12%. And that's good growth. It's nice, but it's not exciting. To me, that feels more of like not quite a burden, but not quite excitement. If you went into your business planning thinking, over the next 5 years, we're going to really 3x the size of the business, 4 or 5x the size of the business. In order to achieve that, we need to hit Y growth over the next 12 months. That would really kind of reshape, like kind of maybe more of a stressful scenario that's based on anecdotes to something that's more exciting and engaging. And so those are the 2 main frameworks of time and financial outcome that would truly be exciting that the book starts with as a premise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we use all the time, every day.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. So if I just want to translate it into a 3 to 5 step framework or process, what's step number 1? Is it about defining the financial destination, or is it the time frame?
So number 1, both of those things are going to probably go into concert together. So time frame and financial outcome. So when we're talking about from a framework perspective, first we're going to set that destination, and then we're going to start going into the other pieces. So step 2 is likely going to be creating a 100-day plan. Mm-hmm. And why do we want a 100-day plan? It's because we want to make sure that tomorrow is going to be different than today. Mm-hmm. And again, it's one of those things where a 30-day plan's too short, a 6-month plan's too long. 100 days is a way to jumpstart a growth plan. And we really want to see a few things out of that. One is some early wins, because we all are wired that way. The more we win, the more we want to play the game, right? Yeah. So you do want to have some early wins. You want to have some visibility, right? So, organizationally, we plan to communicate what some of the goals and objectives are of our destination and outcome, what our 100-day plan is, and then accountability. So accountability to outcomes. Those are the 3 main things we want to see out of that 100-day plan, even though there's a lot of details. Step 3 would be a 1-year plan, because we really want to say, okay, we've got this time frame, we've got this destination we want to get to, we've got a 100-day plan to jumpstart it. We have a 1-year check-in. And
Mhm.
then from that 1 year, we're probably doing, in addition to kind of things that are like KPIs or rocks or whatever an organization uses to kind of manage accountability to outcomes, we want to do kind of a reset of the sale every quarter to 6 months from there going forward.
Mhm.
But the 100-day and 1-year plans are really important to making sure that we're off to a good start on our journey to
Mhm.
get to where we want to in 5 years.
Love it. So that's interesting. It's more of a bottom up approach. Some people preach the top down approach. I mean, you do have a top as well because you have a financial destination 7 years out, perhaps, or 3 to 7 years out, and that's fascinating. And you also follow the private equity idea of 100-day plan, so that kind of it aligns with that approach too. So if one of the things that I like to talk about with clients is that how can we create private equity without private equity? How
Yeah.
can we get the private equity results without you having to give up a chunk of the pie? So that is fascinating.
Yeah, and that's a big part. Anyone who's looking for that message is really going to gravitate to this book. You know, what I do tell people is you don't have to sell to grow, but you do have to plan. And this is a great framework of doing it based on 27 years of personal experience, 23 years of firm experience, personally helped 40 companies achieve 7, 8, 9-figure growth in enterprise value and 5.7 billion of closed transactions. So all of that is kind of feeding into this book that, I think people can use to really find a better path towards and a proven guide towards growth without having to give up control.
Yeah, I love it. So tell me, Matt, what drives growth in your business in Westlake Securities?
I think there's a few things that have been helpful to growth. Number one, we have been fortunate to be in markets that are robust. So we do have a bit of a perfect storm going on right now in that there is a lot of capital available, there's a lot of tools available, and we've got an aging demographic of business owners. All of those things are forcing almost, if you will, this perfect storm of either growth or liquidity. These conversations are going on more now than they ever have in the last 27 years of my career. It's unbelievable. These conversations went from things that people talked about maybe once a year to, for some organizations, we're hearing they're getting outreach every week in terms of somebody who wants to talk to them about a growth investment or selling the business. And so these topics are coming up more and more, and I think in a more impactful way. So number one, there's a lot of just market dynamics. Number two, we actually have the history and track record that is helpful when a business owner is inquiring about, hey, can this company really help me grow, or can this company really help me sell? We've got a great track record for that. And that track record is built on number three, our team. Our team comes from, a lot of our folks have spent time with Fortune 1000 level companies, having worked for major banking organizations or having run a brand for a Fortune 1000 company, or worked in private equity, worked for other investment banks. And so they bring great experience. And then last is our process. And part of the reason for creating a couple different books is to really kind of be very transparent about what some of our processes are, and to really kind of lead our advising through example, and to be very transparent with how we think about helping companies either grow or obtain liquidity. So I think those four legs of the stool have really been part of the reason we've been able to grow so much over the last few years.
Mhm. You say the market is good because of the silver tsunami, some people call it. It's a bit
Yeah.
of a cliche. And also the capital abundance. The private equity have a lot of money to spend, as well as strategic buyers. So I get that part. I also understand that you have great assets inside the company, your track record, your team, your processes, all that stuff. And then what happens? Those people just find you, or you actually have to intentionally do something to drive the growth?
Well, that's well said. Just like we preach, we have to practice. And so some of the ways we've been able to attract companies to our organization is through our digital presence. So if you were to check us out on LinkedIn, we post a lot of great content there. We provide a lot of data. So we do a quarterly, by industry deep dive on where transactions have been. We share very openly growth tips. We provide downloadable forms The books have been helpful. The books have led to speaking. So I speak internationally on the topics of capital raising, growth, and M&A. And then lastly, joining awesome podcasts like yours has started to really be one of our 2026 initiatives. And it's been a lot of fun to do. And it's been amazing to see some of the reach back out of saying, hey, somebody inevitably somebody email say, hey, I saw your conversation with Steve, thought it was pretty cool. Here's how I'm thinking about my business. How can you help, or what do you think? And for everyone, we've got something. And so where I would say for like our ideal client, we obviously have our core services. For folks that are maybe a little bit smaller, we've got a whole suite of workshops that range in cost and time commitment. And then obviously all the way down to a $17 or $25 book, which we feel like is in everyone's grasp to get. And so we really, I mean, part of this is, I'm sure you're wired the same way. I mean, part of what we do is just a pure passion for, helping others find their own form of success. And so whether it's a $17 book or a multi-million dollar capital raise or a $300 million sale of a business, everywhere in between, we can provide somebody some element of value back if they have an interest in engaging with us in a conversation. So that's been helpful too.
Yeah, I love it. It's very smart. You basically have a long-term view and a long funnel, and you can connect with people at any stage of where they are, and you can just support them through more intensive ways.
Can I share with you the funniest one that I never saw coming?
Of
So
course.
we've always been big believers in kind of giving back through university talks and internship programs. And so this has been going on for some time, and it really kind of took a next step up in 2020 when all the internships were shut down. We were one of the early firms to do a virtual internship program. And so now we've had, over 1,000 interns that have gone through our various internships, completing those internships from 5 different continents. But now those people are in, several of them have been graduated for many years now, and now they're coming into their own careers. And it's been amazing to see an experience that they had maybe when they were 19, 20, 21, and now they're maybe kind of 5 to 10 years in their career. And that's been coming back to pay some dividends. And that's one that we always did it as a bit of a give back, but it's been interesting to see that as a bit of a long-term brand building exercise, positive give back to the community exercise that, has, honestly created more opportunities than I ever would have thought.
That's amazing. So you created all these ambassadors then that
Yeah.
bring your clients.
There wasn't probably the intention when we sought it, but we've had people come back and tell us like, hey, that internship changed the course of my career. We've had parents whose kids got their first job out of school after doing an internship with us and said, hey, I can't guarantee you're going to get the project, but I at least want to offer the opportunity for you guys to participate because I appreciate what you did for my son or daughter for that internship. So that's been really cool. And again, this kind of karma give back sense, if you will.
Yeah, I love it. That is very valuable. And these days, internships are really challenging to come by. So it can be a really valuable building block for young people. So let me switch gears here and ask you another question. What's one thing that you're trying to figure out in your business right now?
That's a great question. We are laser focused on a couple things. I would say one that a lot of businesses are going to share in common is AI and implementing kind of AI in what I'm calling the light side of AI. So I feel like there's 2 views of AI going on in the marketplace. Well, really 3 views that I've seen in a lot of conversation. One is there's a group of people that are still asking, what does AI stand for? Okay, so we'll put them off to the side for a second. And then I view there's kind of like a light side, dark side conversation going on. I think the darker side is more of automation leading to job elimination. And the lighter side is really how do we elevate the customer experience or the client experience? How do we elevate what our people are doing and delivering every day? And that's really the area we're focused on. Is we have a strategy inside of our company as it relates to AI, but the simplest way I can describe it is we are going to be customer centric, client centric in what we do with AI. We want to create the best experience for those that engage with us, utilizing better technology to do it. And so that's really a major focus for us for 2026. The other is really making sure that intentional growth gets off to a great start. It's pre-order right now. It's debut week in pre-order. It hit #1 in 4 categories. It officially launches in October. But the book, speaking, workshops, the whole growth initiative, I think is really, really important for our firm, but really the people that we come into contact with. I mean, who wouldn't want to grow their business and have the value by increased by 5, 10, $50 million over a reasonable period of time? I mean, I think most people that have decided to go down the entrepreneurial path, did so with an opportunity of creating abundance. And the only way to really create that abundance for themselves, their customers, their employees, their vendors, all their key stakeholders is to grow that organization. And so AI and intentional growth are our 2 main business challenges and opportunities for the year. So,
Yeah, that's great. And 4 categories as a pre-order on
yeah.
Amazon, #1, that is actually very rare. So you must be doing something right there. Either you have an amazing PR machine, or the book is just very, very good.
Well, I'm hoping it's the latter, that the book's going to be that good. I do think, the book #1, there's thousands of copies in print, got a lot of great feedback on Amazon. It's been used by universities, industry groups, etc. So I think there's kind of a nice, nucleus there for just potential readers for book #2. And then I think the book #2, I'm really excited about it. It's going to be way more interactive than book #1. So book #2, Intentional Growth, is going to have downloadable forms and AI interactive tools at the end of each chapter that the reader can kind of take some of what they've learned actually in the book or that particular chapter and translate it into usable tactical tools for their business immediately. And so my hope is that this gets in the hands of any business or organization leader from an early stage to maybe somebody who's running part of a very large publicly traded company. But if they have that real desire to grow and are looking for a better path to do it, my hope is this book ultimately finds its way into their hands.
Yeah, definitely. So if people would like to connect with you, obviously they can go to Amazon and buy Intentional Growth by Matt Andersen.
Yeah.
Definitely do that. And where else can they find you?
So there's a few areas, book wise, Amazon #1, all over major retailers, Barnes and Noble, Porchlight. There'll be a number of places that the books are carried, both available now and then with Intentional Growth, the actual book will ship in October. But I would encourage people to find us, first and foremost on LinkedIn. I do a lot of personal posts. We have events, etc. Also, Westlake Securities, where we have a very nice presence, I think, on LinkedIn there. Again, a lot of events, a lot of free content, a lot of free data. We spend, 6 figures a year on purchasing private data and then organizing it in a way that's useful for business owners to understand kind of trends, valuation, etc., what's going on in the capital markets, cost of debt, how much equity was invested in private companies last quarter, last year. And so there's a lot of great free information that I think people can get out of those 2 resources. And I do quite a bit of speaking. So if you want to come see a talk, I give talks kind of internationally, as I mentioned, on capital raising, growth, and M&A.
That's amazing. So definitely check it out and check out Matt's LinkedIn, especially with the quarterly market report. That's going to be very interesting. And I'm sure that you're using your 6-figure database to feed some good charts in there. So check that out. Buy Intentional Growth and then see how that can help your business. I love your framework, the reverse engineering idea, and you really have to know where you want to get to and then how much time you have, and then you can figure out what it takes to get there, what's going to be your above 10% exciting growth level that's going to 3 or 5x your business. So thank you, Matt, for coming and sharing your wisdom. And if you're listening out there, make sure that you follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, give us a review, because every week I bring you an exciting entrepreneur growing their business. So thanks for coming, Matt, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you having me. To all those that are listening out there, best of luck out there until we interact next. Let's grow.
That's it for this episode. Keep moving your business forward. Subscribe at stevebreda.com/newsletter.